Today I'm going to talk about the fire alarm system basic function, which is lesson 433.1, talking about the basic function of a fire alarm system. We'll go over a few abbreviations, including the key terms that are involved in the basic functions. There are a few more fire alarm system types, but I'm going to talk about today the conventional system and the address system. We'll go over the lesson 433.1, describe and apply the basic functions of the fire alarm system. Within that lesson, it talks about 4 basic functions after detection, which include occupant notification, responder notification, supervision of fire extinguishing systems, and actuation of fire control equipment. I'll share with you some of the experience that I have with fire alarm system and my day-to-day job, and also a little bit of an interesting concept that I just found out a few days ago. We'll do a little recap, and then I'll show you my bibliography. Here are a few abbreviations that are involved in the fire alarm system. You have EOL, which is the end of the line. Your FACP, which is your fire alarm control panel, where all your actions go to, all your signals from your devices go to. You have your IDC, which is your initiating device circuit. Your NAC, which is your notification appliance or device circuit. And the NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Association. Starting with the key terms, we have alarm. An alarm is a warning of fire or danger. The fire alarm system are broken into zones, which is a specified area or areas within the protected premises. And this includes an area from which a signal can be received, an area to which a signal can be sent, or an area in which a form of control can be executed. You have alarm system, which is a combination of compatible initiating devices, control units, and indicating appliances designed and installed to produce an alarm signal in the event of a fire. You have an alarm signal, which indicates an emergency requiring immediate action. You have a fault, which occurs when a zone changes state from its normal operating position. You have a temporal signal, or which is a tone, which is a signal pattern consisting of 3 pulse phases, a 3-pulse phase followed by an off phase, which is typically what you hear in, say, like a school. And then the FACP has a trouble signal, which usually happens when the FACP cannot see the end-of-the-line resistor of the wiring circuit. Devices will still work, but signal will be sent to the FACP for repair. There are 2 types of fire alarm systems I'm going to talk about today. Now, there are a few more that I've read about, but I want to talk about these 2 right here, the conventional system and the address system. In the conventional system, the system and components are all wired to the same cable that connects to the FACP, your control panel. It works well in small facilities, so whenever you're troubleshooting in the smaller facilities, it's easier to find the certain device, the initiating device that is sending the signal for the alarm. It is difficult to know right away with the conventional system which initiating device has triggered an alarm, so that's why it's better to have them in smaller facilities than larger facilities. That way, whenever you do go to troubleshoot to find the initiating device, it can be easier for you. Vice versa, if you do it in a large facility, you can get lost, or you cannot find where these initiating devices, or which initiating device has actually set off the alarm. As for the address system, like the conventional system, the system and components are all wired to the same cable that connects to the FACP. Larger facilities utilize the system for troubleshooting purposes, and like I said, it is harder for a conventional system to find these initiating devices, but with an address system, each device has its own address that sends a signal to the FACP, which then the FACP will, on the monitor, show its location of that initiating device, which will cut down work time to find the device. This is 433.1, which is to describe and apply the basic functions of a fire alarm system. And to begin this, a part of the electrician's scope of work is to install all cables, raceways, enclosures, line voltage circuits, and system voltage circuits for the fire alarm system. They also make terminations at all equipment and are required to install fire alarm devices, boxes, cabinets, back boxes, conduit and wire cable, and provide termination of field devices. And the reason I say that is because that is the basics to why an electrician has to worry about fire alarm systems. It is their responsibility for all these actions. The electrical contractor may or may not subcontract this portion of the contract to a fire alarm contractor. However, the electrical contractor is responsible for the fire alarm contractor and the final product of the fire alarm installation. Also, you can make yourself more valuable to your employer by asking for additional training in fire alarm systems. That way they're more comfortable when having a fire alarm job come up, that if you're trained, you know what's going to happen or what needs to happen when it comes to installing and servicing the fire alarm system. Fire alarm system is a life safety device used to manually or automatically detect products of combustion or fire. The fire alarm system utilizes a fail-safe function when arranged to give a trouble signal when the system is not working. Meaning that the system will still work, but if there's a problem with the fire alarm control panel to find the end of the line, there will be a trouble signal sent to the FACP for a service member to come out and actually do the repair. The four basic functions after detection are the occupant notification, the responder notification, supervision of fire extinguishing systems, and actuation of fire control equipment. The occupant notification, this is typically for your customers or people who live in buildings, the hospitals, anywhere where people are actually in a physical space. They're usually notified by devices such as horns, bells, strobes, and other audible visual devices. However, in hospitals, these devices can panic further endangering the occupants. So you'll get chimes or other special signaling systems utilized to alert trained personnel. And the voice notification is a big one in hospitals. So like code red over the intercom, usually the trained personnel who work there will actually understand what that means and not alert your visitors that are there visiting their family. Now, if they need to be notified, you'll still have the strobes, you'll have that sort of thing that'll actually notify them in case they do need to evacuate. Responder notification is a 24-hour monitoring company, and the local fire department will be notified by the system when an emergency is taking place. Other options permitted by the NFPA 72 include owner site 24-hour monitoring, fire brigades, owner remote monitoring systems. Supervision of fire extinguishing systems. The fire alarm system will provide building operation actions to prevent the spread of smoke and fire. Sprinkler and carbon dioxide systems usually are activated. And here we have actuation of fire control equipment. The magnetic locking mechanisms on exit doors are released to allow free egress during alarm. Fire smoke doors and dampers are closed to contain smoke and fire in specific compartments. Air handling units shut down to prevent the spread of deadly gases, and exhaust fans are turned on to remove deadly gases from the area. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about my experience dealing with the fire alarm system and my specific job. Now, what I specifically do is in the last couple months, I was worked in the Baptist Health of Lexington Hospital doing access control, and our life safety power FPO 250 power supply is works with a fire alarm interface for egress lock control, meaning whenever there is a fire alarm, the magnetic locks that we have, which we call mags, on the either exterior doors or just doors in general that break up hallways, sections of the building, basically any mag that we have throughout the hospital is connected to the fire alarm interface, which then allows that when a fire alarm goes off, it releases the power on those mags for free egress, because they need power. They require power in order to hold the magnetic bar. So whenever power is lost, they will release it for exterior doors, but specifically for a fire alarm system, they will release and allow people to evacuate when there is an alarm. I have this interesting concept that I found out from my new, I guess you would call him my foreman. I work with him every once in a while. He is our fire alarm guy. But as I was looking through and understanding the two systems, the conventional and the addressed, I came across proprietary system and the open system. And so I had to ask him kind of what we do. We're a low voltage company, and I was asking him, do we use a proprietary system or an open system? First off, proprietary system is where the manufacturer, the authorized service provider, and the distributor are generally the same fire protection company, in which this system, only one company can service the system. As for the open system, it allows customer to choose from a variety of authorized fire alarm service providers who can come in and service those fire alarm systems. Now, with the open system, they must have a competitive price to compete with firms that do work at similar or better rates. Now, what the guy that I work with that told me was that we use both systems, but mainly majority of our systems are a proprietary system, in which require you to be an authorized service provider or distributor, and you have to have specific training and specific licenses to be able to be considered those authorized service providers. All right, I'm going to do a quick recap of what I went over today. Again, there are two types of fire alarm systems that I covered, conventional and addressed systems. And for what we use, typically is the addressed systems, because it's in a larger facility that we work with. It's much easier to be able to troubleshoot and fix and actually reset the device, the initiating device, whenever it sets off the alarm. And the four basic functions after detection include the occupant notification, the responder notification, supervision of fire extinguishing system, and actuation of fire control equipment. Again, my experience, I deal mainly with the access control. So again, our mags that were in the Baptist Health Lexington Hospital are all connected to a fire alarm interface, and that interface allows those mags to drop power and allow free egress to people evacuating. And again, there are two different types of systems when it comes to install and servicing. proprietary, which is a closed system, and your open system. Again, the proprietary closed system is mainly for people who install the equipment, but then also are the servicing company that comes in and actually services the fire alarm system. As for the open system, you can have different manufacturer, authorized service provider, and distributors, and also different people who come in and service that system. So, meaning they need to be more competitive. And also, too, one thing I did learn that I did not touch on was when it comes to having trust, the company can trust a proprietary system provider more for the reason that they know there's a license and that they are accredited by the manufacturer. So, and here's my bibliography of all the information that I had pulled from the website and the book, the code book, and so on and so forth. So that is the basic function of the fire alarm system. And if you have any questions, give me a shout. Thank you.